All right, it is 4:31, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a wonderful set of panelists. I'm Danielle Barreras with the Children's Trust, and I am actually going to hand over this session to our Children's Trust Youth Advisory Committee members. Just saying that on behalf of Jim Hodge, our president and CEO of the Children's Trust, and our board chair, Ken Hoffman, we are so glad to have you tonight. And Sofoni and Jose, kick it off. Jose, we're not able to hear you. I see your, try one more time.
Hello?
Perfect. There we go.
Okay, sorry, technical difficulties. Hello, everyone. I'm glad you came to join us this evening. I know that we have a diverse group of audience coming from different walks of life, different grade levels, different schools, different organizations, but I hope that at the end of this, you get something out of any of the presentations you see here today. As Danielle mentioned, I represent the Children's Trust. I'm currently president of the Youth Advisory Committee at Kendall, and we also have Sofoni here.
Thank you, Jose. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Sofoni DeWalsh. I am a senior attending School for Advanced Studies North. I am also the president of the Children's Trust Youth Advisory Committee, or YAC North, as we like to call it. The Children's Trust Youth Advisory Committee is composed of teen students who meet up regularly and talk about issues most important to them in their community. So we talk about environmental sustainability or mental health. We also receive community service. We hold youth board seats. We also go on field trips, and we even develop our own service projects. So if you are interested, please look at the chat for a link to more information. Thank you and enjoy.
Okay, so again, we thank you for coming. We have almost 200 guests tonight that are viewing this webinar. I am getting quite a few chats asking, can you see me? Can you hear me? Just so that you're clear, it's a webinar. So we're not able to see you or hear you, but we do want to interact with you. So send us a message on the chat. Devin has shared with us that greetings, everyone. Thank you for hosting. I'm a community member interested in learning more about the resources. We also have Kai joining us and Anna saying thanks for putting this on tonight. So we're glad to have you. Go into that chat box, tell us who you are, tell us what you're hoping to get out of tonight, or click at the bottom of your screen the Q&A, and you can put any questions that you have for us, and we will do our best to get them answered for you tonight. So let's see. Sofoni, are you kicking us off with our first presenter?
Yes, at this time, I would like to welcome Achieve Miami. Again, please put all your questions in the Q&A section if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Sofoni. I'm gonna go ahead and present here. And again, my name is Robert Sawyer. I'm the director of high school programs here at Achieve Miami. And I'm super excited to be here with you all and to talk about our programs. So we have an Achieve Scholars Program. So what is the Achieve Scholars Program? Our program is a selective program that provides intensive college readiness support, one-on-one support to rising high school seniors, current high school juniors. And unfortunately, we only have 100 spots total, but I still want to tell you all about our programming so that you can look into it. So what type of services do we provide? You all need help with the college essays, those scholarship essays, because we know money is very, very important. So we help you all with that. We walk you hand in hand through the FAFSA and financial aid process. For those who are applying for the Common App or the Coalition App, or even the Common Black College App, we help you all with that. We run an SAT boot camp. We provide you all online resources for those as well. And here at Achieve Miami, we're huge on community service, and you can work on that with our Achieve Club. And we have various different college readiness workshops. A couple would be like scholarship strategies, securing the bag, getting involved in community and things of that nature. And with Achieve, we're a family here, so you really get to know and love the people here, and those people will write you beautiful, recommendation letters. And more importantly, oftentimes will apply for a school and haven't even been there. You know, we've taken students to Washington, D.C. to see the different schools. And as far, we're looking to take our students around Florida so you can really see what it's like being on campus, you know, firsthand. And also, we start you off with a summer enrichment. You get a paid internship. You know, we don't believe in unpaid internships. We pay you all. And also during this time, we have a SAT boot camp of 6 weeks, and we're preparing you all for the August 28th test. And during the summer, we also have college readiness workshops, and you work with little buddies who are our elementary school participants. You'll be reading with them and doing all other kind of things. And we mainly work with 8 schools, and those are the schools that you can see here. But just because those schools are there doesn't mean we don't work with other schools, because we work with schools, you know, all across Miami-Dade County Public Schools. So with COVID, you know, has thrown everyone for a loop, but here at Achieve Miami, we're very proud of the work that we've been doing. And so far, we still got a ways to go. Our students have gotten into 107 colleges. Our average GPA is 3.2, and our students have amassed over $4.3 million in scholarships. You know, so again, we are providing that one-on-one service. You know, we have our Achieve Success coaches who will check in with you all the time. We have all of these different workshops. We are really committed to our students, and, you know, our numbers are showing. And you might be asking, Mr. Sawyer, I'm only in 9th grade. You know, how do I, you know, can I start applying for colleges? Can I start looking into these types of things? And of course, so I've come up with 3 different things for each of the grade levels that'll discuss what those things are. So if you're a freshman, the biggest thing you can do is meet with your counselor. Find out your high school graduation requirements. Look into AP classes. Look into dual enrollment. Those kind of things are important, because it's easy for your GPA to drop, but it's super hard for it to get up. So pay attention to those kind of things. Get active in your school. If you like sports, go play sports. If you want to join different clubs, join different clubs. You can join a band. So there's no bench warming in high school. That's always something for you to do. And also start volunteering, because if you plan on staying in Florida, you have the Bright Future Scholarship that you need, you know, hundreds of volunteer hours. So make sure you start that during your freshman year instead of trying to, you know, do everything during your senior year. So that going into your sophomore year, study for the PSAT, you know, go to Khan Academy and things like that, and look at these types of tests, because these are the tests you're going to take. And in order to be competitive, you got to have, you know, higher scores so that you can get, you know, money for those different schools. And also start researching potential career pathways. You know, look into what you want. It's never too early to look into these things. And also start your college search. I'd say, you know, start with about 20 schools. So by the time you get to your junior year and your senior year, you have those core schools that you're really interested in applying to. So for our high school juniors out there, again, it's time to meet with your counselor to discuss your grades, how many service hours you have. And I know nowadays we have portals that have that information, but make sure you're talking to your counselors, you know, every year. Look at your test scores, you know, see the kind of things you need that's going to get you into the colleges that you want to get into. And also start reaching out, researching and applying for scholarships. It's never too early to apply for scholarships. You know, those micro scholarships at $200, you know, $250, those things, you know, mean a lot too. So get as many of those as possible. And also start studying and taking your SAT and the ACT, whichever you choose. And lastly, for our seniors, you know, study into the SAT again. Even if you got a good score, take it again, because you never know, you know, what can happen. And again, this is when you're going to start applying for colleges, scholarships, completing the FAFSA. And also, before you decide what school you want to go to, because I know a lot of us do it on our own, meet with your parents or your guardians and your school counselor to look at what's going to be financially available for you, so that you don't leave school with crippling debt like a lot of people do. All right, so our application is currently closed for our Achieve Scholars Program, but it doesn't mean you can't get this excellent information. You can join the Achieve Club. If you're interested, you can scan this QR code. And also you can follow us on both of our pages, our Achieve High Schools page, where you're gonna get all of the updated information about everything we have going on, and our Achieve Miami page, where you get an overview of everything Achieve. So thank you all so much for sitting here and being with us here tonight. I know you all went to school or work and you had a lot going on, but you still came here with us and we really appreciate it. And if you have any questions for me outside of this in the panel, you can email me at robert@achievemiami.org.
Thank you for that presentation. And now we're going to have a speaker from Miami-Dade County Public Schools.
Hi, everyone. Welcome and thanks so much for coming out and getting all this information. I know all this information for college is a lot, and it's a lot of overwhelming. So just try to take it bit by bit, take what's important for you guys and where you're at right now, and we can always follow up. My name is Lou Gelman, and I am a CAP advisor, a college assistance program advisor with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Please note that every high school has an advisor who's tasked with college advisement to work with your students through this process. And what I will be presenting tonight will be the FAFSA, which is the federal financial aid application for the financial aid process. And it is one of sometimes up to 3 different financial aid applications that come senior year you will be submitting. So this information is really the nuts and bolts. I know it's a lot more involved, and I'm happy to help and take any questions later as Danielle gathers them. But this is just kind of an overview of the one federal application for financial aid, FAFSA. And talking about financial aid, let's first understand financial aid is everything that is the funding to assist to go to college. It includes free grant money, self-help funds such as work, study, or loans, and of course, merit-based monies like scholarships. Almost every student is eligible for some kind of financial aid, whether that is free gift aid, self-help, or merit aid. And it is something that you have to apply for each year. Next, please. And the application we're going over today is the FAFSA. It, as I said, is one of maybe 3. It stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And it is the very first step in applying for financial aid. Even if you and your families think you might not qualify for federal aid, it's the first step that all colleges will require you have this application on file with them so that they can take a look at you and evaluate you for other type of aid, maybe from the institutions or state aid or otherwise. So it's very important. It opens October 1st of each year, and that will be your senior year will be the year that it needs to be submitted. And you want to complete it as soon as possible, as soon as you can after that. And that one application is used for all federal aid. Next, please. My computer is kind of freaking out and I'm not seeing the screen. There we go. That's simply the application, so you know you're at the right site. It is FAFSA.gov. Earlier on, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, parents, you also might be interested in taking a peek at the FAFSA forecaster. You input some of your information and you can see what you could possibly qualify for a little later on. But I do like to caution all my families to be sure they are on the correct site, that .gov. Never go to some of those .coms or scam sites because they do come out every year. Next. FSA ID. FSA is a term we hear a lot here in Florida because of the testing that we go through. But in this case, it stands for Federal Student Aid, and creating an FSA ID, which is basically your login information. It's your username and password. It's access to your account. That's the very first step. You will use it every year to electronically sign. It's what's used when and if the time ever comes that you need to use loans and things like that. And one is needed for both the student who is applying, the senior that year, and one for a parent or guardian. Next. And that's the site. You can always go a little early and create your FSA ID. Parents, if you have multiple children, you would be using the same FSA ID if you have a senior this year and a 10th grader coming. When that 10th grader becomes a senior, you'd be using the same one. So it's kind of a site to get used to. It's private personal information, and you can start early, and it's one of the very first steps when getting ready to apply for the FAFSA. Next. Okay, and here's the process. So it's going to take us through here, seeing the site, creating the FSA ID. Next. We're going to get into the actual process next, and my screen is like not showing me the whole thing. I'm not sure what's going on with mine, but basically here is kind of for this year. You'll see the years, the numbers that are up there posted. This would be for this year's seniors. Each year they kind of just carries over. It's important to check each college website for their own deadlines to submit their applications. Many of them are around December to January, some as late as February or even March. But the FAFSA being the first one. So take, for example, a senior this year who would be starting the summer term, say at FIU, they would be doing both the 2021 FAFSA and the 21-22 FAFSA using the income or tax information from the years indicated. For a student who is beginning in the fall only, they are not starting in the summer, they would only need to submit the 21-22 FAFSA. So it's something every year I have time with my seniors. When do you know when you're going to start? Well, I'm not sure yet. Well, sometimes it's not a bad idea to do both. If you end up starting in the fall and you don't need the summer, it's no big deal. Next. This is just some financial aid lingo, if you will, some terminology. Some of you will need to learn a little bit more than others, but COA, we have acronyms for everything, especially with the federal government. COA refers to cost of attendance. I'm going to get into that a little bit more. And EFC is an estimated or expected family contribution. This is what is calculated by the federal government after submitting the FAFSA. It's not the amount you need to sit down and write a check for, but it's something that colleges use when they formulate or pull together your financial aid package. Once you have that, you may or may not have some unmet need, which can be used, which can be handled or met with a lot of those micro scholarships, which are great, that Robert was talking about earlier. The different types of awards you're going to see on your package. A scholarship is merit-based. A grant is free money you don't pay back. A loan is a loan, and that is funds that need to be paid back. And work study is when you're offered a little job on campus, but you're paid a paycheck like any job, but those are funds to keep. And as you go through the process, it's important to know how to identify certain cost reductions. Just because they say something costs a certain amount does not mean you have to pay that. You can opt to live at home. If you're at FIU, you can opt for a cheaper dorm, a lesser meal plan. A lot of schools put in the cost of transportation that you may not need to factor in. So it's important to understand this, and so you can go back to the financial aid office and have these conversations. Next. I think the next one is just about the cost of attendance. So when you see a school's cost of attendance, they factor all of these things in. But like I said, you may not need transportation. Personal expenses are very different from student to student. Tuition is something you do. It's like a direct cost you have to, consider. But some of these other things are a little negotiable, if you will. Books and supplies. You guys are awesome at figuring out how to save money in this area. Next. And it all comes down to kind of this process here. Beginning in October, the student and parent submits the FAFSA, your EFC, and your what's called SAR or student aid report is generally generated about 3 to 5 days after that. This is all done online, and this is all communicated via email. That SAR and student aid report is sent to you receive an email saying it's ready, and it's also sent to every school that you list on your FAFSA. You can send your financial aid information up to 10 schools, and if you have more, there's a way to do that as well. So as you're going through this process, keep in mind your application for admissions are still going through too. You might have applied to 2, 3, 7 schools. So while that is getting processed, the student and their parents are waiting, maybe taking the test again or whatnot. Ultimately, at every school that you have been accepted at, you will be offered some kind of an award package. And that's when you and your parents get to sit down and decide which one's the best for you. Next. These are all the grants that the free money and self-help that you are applying for when submitting the FAFSA. I have to move our faces here. So for this year, we have the 2021-22 Pell Grant, which is up to $6,345. The SEOG can be anywhere from $100 to $4,000, excuse me. And then self-help, like I was saying, was the little job on campus, which is really great. You get a check and you just earn money like anywhere else. This is all free money that is not paid back. Next. And of course, the other type of self-help is loans. And you do not, when you submit the FAFSA, you are being considered for it, but you are not obligated in any way, shape, or form to have to accept it. However, it is important to understand, and I think it's very important with my students that they understand how it works and what it all means. As I said, it's a lot of information. I don't want to go into it too much, but any student can borrow up to $5,500 their freshman year, $6,500 their sophomore, and $7,500. You do not have to borrow that full amount. If you only need to borrow $500, you can certainly do that. And if you are faced with this, you are offered two different types of loan. Subsidized, which simply means there is no interest being put on that loan while you are in college. Those are the best ones if you have to take out loans. And then unsubsidized loans means that there is interest being accrued, but neither of these have to be paid so long as you are enrolled in college. That's all once you graduate. And I spend quite a bit of time explaining this and working through this with our students. Next. Oh, and that pretty much brings me to the end. With the FAFSA itself, please know you can always go in and make additions and add schools and make corrections. There's nothing that is going to go wrong if you have to change or update it. Those are always sent to the schools as well. Don't ever be afraid to call the FAFSA helpline. They're super, super nice and super helpful, and they're there just for that reason. And even after that, once you've been accepted to those schools, please be comfortable reaching out to the actual financial aid offices at these colleges and universities and have these conversations. The slide that I was showing you about which FAFSA to file, if you noticed, for example, this year, the 21-22 FAFSA, you have to use 2019 income or tax information. 2019 almost seems like a lifetime ago in this world of COVID now, and things are very different. So that you absolutely pick up that phone and have that conversation with those financial aid offices and say, hey, this is what's going on now, and I need my aid to be reevaluated. And that's what their job is, and they are really, truly happy to do that. So I'm happy to take any questions once they come in from Danielle and assist, and we'll go from there. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for all that information. I know that the financial aid process can be a bit difficult without any help. Now I would like to welcome a student talking about their student experience.
Well, hi everyone. Again, my name is Tamara McCutcheon. I am from Miami, Florida. I currently attend the great Alabama A&M University as a rising senior, as a senior graduating this upcoming fall. And my experience has been, I want to say, very pleasant. Coming from Miami-Jackson, we have wonderful teachers, great advisors, great college. You know, it was just a great experience for me. I've always been a student to work. I love school. I love being involved in the community. And so I didn't know if, really where I wanted to go for college. I did not always pass every test. I was not the best test taker ever, but my grades, spoke for me. My community service spoke for me. My giving back to, different people spoke for me. And so I was able to get into Alabama A&M University. I became Miss Gospel Choir. I became involved my freshman year. Basically, I became Miss Gospel Choir, started volunteering in different organizations. I am currently now an assistant director for a performing arts academy up here. I did not always want to be an actress. I wanted to be an OBGYN. But when I saw how much studying I had to do, I said, you can keep it, I'd rather act. So for me, college is what you make it. If you are a student that, you feel like you're not the best test taker, you feel like you're not able to really study as much as you should, I would say start doing that now. Find you a buddy, find you a system that works for you, because colleges start looking at you from high school. I tell my friends all the time, I was able to get into different colleges because of my work ethic. I put in a lot of work studying and making sure I got help from teachers, making sure that I was able to understand what I read, because when you get in college, they look at you as an adult. You are responsible for yourself. Your grades are important. And like Mr. Roberts said, your GPA, once it drops, it is hard to get it back up, especially in college. If you have a 2.0 and your GPA drops to 1.5, you can make 4 A's and still have a 1.6 or 1.5. It is very hard to get your GPA up. So make sure, if you are a student and you're not a fan of loving school and you find your passion in school, whether it's acting, it's sports, it's writing, it may be being a business entrepreneur, whatever makes you happy. When you come to college, college is what you make it. find you a great person. Now, everyone is not someone you can talk to. Everyone's not friendly. So find you someone that you're able to connect with. I have one friend that we've been friends from freshman year, and we hang together. We read together, we study together. I'm the one that gets her to study. Sometimes she's overwhelmed if she's working, and I will pull her to the side and say, hey, let's have like 30 minutes of study time. And then let's have 40 minutes of wind down time. So find you a schedule that works for you. Find you some time that works for you, and you're able to take that and pass it along. Because once you leave college, you are an adult. You have bills, you have car notes, you have a house to take care of, you have a lot more responsibilities. So while you are in college, learn how to be responsible for yourself. It's cool to have friends and, you know, go here and party here, but after you have done partying, you have a test, you have exams. I've always been a student to get my work out the way. The moment my teacher gives me assignments, I get it done that very day. It could be a test. I'm going to take my test that very day. They may say, oh, you can take the test next week. No, I'll take my test today. You have to think smart. You have to think what's best for you. If you're a person that wants to just always have chill time and relax, take the test then, study then, do your homework then. So you have all that weekend, a week to do what you love to do, have fun, go out with your friends. So college is really about making it what's best for you and making sure that when you leave here, you're able to explore, you're able to do what you love. I currently am going to attend grad school in New York, so I'm excited about that. So it's basically just doing what you love to do, achieving your goal. Once you leave here, like I said, you are an adult. Your grades do matter. Your GPA does matter. Your community service, they matter. Everything that you do in school matters. I looked at it when I was at Miami-Dade. Ms. Madison, who knows Ms. Danielle, always taught us to just work your hardest at whatever you do. You know, when your high school is like your permanent record. So if your permanent record is messed up, if you get to college, they'll look at stuff like that. They feel, oh, you're not a student that loves to work. You know, you don't love to go to class. You're not a person that loves to do their classwork. So it's about what you make it. So I do hope, I encourage you all to just do what you love, do it to the best of your ability. There's only one you, and no one can beat you at being you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Our next presentation is from another speaker from Miami-Dade County Public Schools.
I think that would be me, correct? So there's a PowerPoint coming up. And while that's happening, oh my God, I'm so proud of Tamara, that amazing general. What can we say? How do you follow up after someone like Tamara? I don't know, but we're going to do our very best here. So very proud of you, Tamara. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so very much. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, fantastic. My name is Renee Mantilla. I am a district director with school operations with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. And I work with 21 centers, specifically with 7 technical colleges. And I'll be sharing a little bit regarding those schools in a bit. If you can go back one slide, because we missed one slide. But before I do so, let me take a moment to welcome you on behalf of our superintendent, Mr. Roberto Carvalho, and of course, our school board. We are so excited about all the programs and opportunities that we have for young people as well as parents. So parents, this is an opportunity that perhaps you could take advantage of as well. And this is just a general information. We have a plethora of different classes. They cover all of those training areas that you see there. Those are kind of career clusters. But basically, we have over 70 programs that either lead to some kind of a certification or a licensure to go straight to work. Also, just to throw it in there, we also provide ESO and GED and citizenship and adult high school completion courses. And you'll be hearing soon from Mr. Anazolota from Miami-Dade College, who is one of our graduates and someone that we have a partnership with. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, we definitely missed a slide, but that's okay. We do have 7 technical colleges, D.A. Dorsey, George T. Baker Aviation, the English Center, Lindsay Hopkins, Miami Lakes, Educational Center Technical College, Robert Morgan, and South Dade Technical Colleges. Of those 7 technical colleges, 6 provide dual enrollment. That is that you can be a high school student and you can be enrolled taking post-secondary classes. There it is. Thank you so much. Taking post-secondary classes to be able to graduate or after you graduate, depending on when you enter the program and the length of the program, exit with a credential. So mom and dads and grandmas and everybody who's out there listening, your child can graduate and go straight to work, which is a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. I have 4 children and it was so exciting when they started working, right? Let's go to the next slide. And we already shared this slide. This is just some general information. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. I want to speak to a few benefits regarding our technical colleges. First of all, we're accredited by the Council on Occupational Education, which in essence are the gatekeepers to what's called Title IV. So the presenter, Ms. Gilman, that spoke to about federal aid, right? Federal student aid. That's what Title IV is. And those dollars, in essence, are accessible to all of our students that qualify, of course, going through the FAFSA process. One thing I want to share with you in terms of financial aid, for all of those who qualify, we do not do any kind of student loans. Not a single student will register in any of our programs, the 70 so programs at any of our 7 technical colleges, and ever need to apply for a student loan. It's not going to happen. Pell and the FSOG are a sufficient amount of dollars to be able to pay for the tuition, materials. Being a former principal at both South Dade Technical College and George T. Baker Technical College, I can tell you of the hundreds and the thousands of checks that I signed that there was always funds that students are, when you're eligible, you're entitled to, that students were able to have additional money to pay for other things related to school. We have right now a plethora of scholarships from COVID-19 because of what's been happening with the pandemic. And we have a few of our technical colleges that, in essence, it'll pay for the entire tuition. So if this is packaged along with financial aid, it's really a good opportunity for students to access these resources and in a way, pocket some money to be able to pay for additional transportation costs and things of that nature. We also have something called the Rapid Credentialing Grant that's happening at 6 of our technical colleges, all of the ones that I shared before, except for Baker. And the Rapid Credentialing Grant also pays for tuitions and for licensures. So let's say, for example, you come into the CDL program, which is a Class A license for driving trucks, big heavy equipment vehicles. Those particular programs, the Rapid Credentialing will pay for the tuition and for that license. And those are high paying career folks. A lot of our careers that you can do in a year, the salaries go anywhere between the 40,000 range to some of the higher end jobs at the $70,000 and $80,000 a year, of course, with no student loans. And we do offer job placement, and our programs are day and evening. Next slide, please. This is just and we will provide this information for all of those who request information through Danielle. We will provide this. This is basically our brochure that has all of our programs by location. Next slide, please. Real quickly, we have an apprenticeship program with insulators, sheet metals, pipe fitters, HVAC, electricians, and those are all apprenticeship programs with our local unions so that you earn as you learn. Next slide. And here's our website. It's pretty simple, careerinayear.com, or you can call our hotline 305-558-8000, and staff is there ready to answer any questions. And if you go to the website, there's also a place where you can enter your information and staff will call you right back. And next slide. Also, we have here's our social media. On Instagram, you can find us at Miami-Dade Tech, and at Facebook, Miami-Dade Tech Education Centers. Next slide. And that is the end of our the presentation. I look forward to any questions that you may have. We have financial aid officers at each one of our technical colleges, and we look forward to serving you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. At this time, we will have a speaker from Miami-Dade College.
Thank you so much, Sofoni. My name is Jaime Anzalota, and I serve as a Chief Enrollment Officer here at Miami-Dade College. But before I get started, I would just like to take a minute to really thank all the students that have decided to join us today. You could have really done anything tonight. There are a lot of really good shows on Netflix and Hulu, right? So the fact that you have chosen to be here and joining us tonight. It definitely shows your commitment to your education. So I truly want to thank you, and also to the parents, guardians, and family members that are joining us. Thank you also for taking the time and supporting the students in their journey. I know it could definitely be a very stressful time. As Mr. Mantilla said, I am a graduate of an adult education program. I am a former high school dropout. And I remember sitting at a conference like this many years ago with a lot of concerns, a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, not knowing where to go. So I'm glad that you're taking the time to joining us today. So my presentation is about opportunities for high school students. And if I were to give you one message, would be start early, start now, right? Do not leave for tomorrow what you can do for today, because there's definitely a lot that can be done. So it's better that you start early. And college is for everyone, right? Don't wait till you become a senior to begin the onboarding experience. We could provide assistance, we could provide support. Miami-Dade College is ready as early as 6th grade in some cases. Next slide, please. So Miami-Dade College has 8 campuses and several outreach centers that are located throughout Miami-Dade County to truly support everyone's educational needs. So regardless of where it is that you're located, there is a campus nearby. We also have a new modality called MDC Live and MDC Online. So all you need is willingness, and Miami-Dade College will make sure to take care of the rest. The other statistics that you have showcase pretty much everyone that is here today. Who is Miami-Dade College for? Each and every single one of you today. Regardless of your race, regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of your GPA, regardless of sexual orientation, regardless of whether or not English is your first language, we are here to cater the experience to make sure that you become successful. Once again, all you need is drive, willingness, and we take care of the rest. Like my old boss used to say, all you need at Miami-Dade College is a penny and a dream, and we will make that dream a reality. It's very important also that as you study Miami-Dade College, you begin establishing very strong connections. And as I said, those connections start very early on. Those connections begin today. As you see from the slide, you see you, right? Which is the individual. And that includes those students that are in high school, that includes a guardian, parent, etc. And then in the middle, you have what we call a pre-college advisor. In every single Miami-Dade County public school, we have an assigned pre-college advisor. And this advisor guides and helps you throughout the entire college onboarding experience. From the completion of your admissions application, that we know that it could be a very tedious process, to your financial aid process, and Ms. Gilman did a phenomenal presentation on that process. It could be somewhat taxing. And for some of the parents that are joining us today, I remember my father not being willing to give me his income tax information because there was fear of what was going to happen, right? So it is a safe process that we guide you through that entire process from A through Z. Also, we understand that students start college and they're not ready, right? There may be gaps within their learning experience. English was not my first language. So I remember taking the placement test and not scoring well in mathematics. And I was terrified. Well, we also have tutors and we have services that are free of charge that prepare you. I say all that to say that college is truly for everyone. So I want you all to let go, release, and surrender any concerns, any doubt, any fears about whether or not college is for you. Also, student life. As Tamara, I believe, said, we strongly believe that an involved student is a student that tends to be more successful, right? And statistics do show that. At Miami-Dade College, we have over 150 different student organizations, student clubs and organizations that you could be a part of. If there's not an organization that you enjoy, you can create your own, right? And that is the great thing about being a college student, that you are in control of your education. You are in control of your journey. Also, Miami-Dade College is for absolutely everyone, as I said. All you need to do is be willing, be interested. We offer over 300 different programs of choice. whether it be a workforce program ready to work that could take as early as 1 or 2 semesters. We also have Associates of Science degrees, which is more workforce related. We offer the 2-year traditional Associates of Arts degree, which is the first 60 credits of a 4-year degree, which is a bachelor's degree. And we also have bachelor's degrees and 4-year degrees that you can definitely also take advantage of. So as I said before, if you want it, we have it, right? And we have those individuals embedded in the high school in order to support you throughout your journey. Next slide, please. I like talking. The hardest thing is keeping this in between 5 and 6 minutes. So feel free to mute me, but this is what I love to do. As Mr. Mantilla said, we also have dual enrollment opportunities. And to the parents, abuelitas, abuelitos, aunties, uncles, you save money in dual enrollment program. This is actually free college. And dual enrollment opportunities are offered at Miami-Dade College as early as the 6th grade. You do need a 3.0 grade point average. You need passing test scores, and you need parental permission, and you need to meet with your high school CAP advisors, right? And the great thing is that in order for you to take dual enrollment, all you need to do is speak to your CAP advisor. And once again, between the CAP advisor and the pre-college advisor, we will walk you throughout that entire process. Something that we're doing that we started a couple of years ago at the college is making the dual enrollment courses stackable. What does that mean? That instead of you taking dual enrollment classes in an unorganized form, we give you classes that lead up to a certificate and or to a degree. So in reality, you could be a high school student and receive your dual enrollment certification at the same time. So these are opportunities that are made available to you. Once again, if I could leave you with one message, it's truly that college is for everyone. Does not matter whether or not you have doubts, you have concerns, whether your GPA may not be that great, and whether or not some of you today may be wondering, is college, am I college material, right? I hear that all the time. Well, as a former high school dropout that now is called doctor in certain circles, it is possible. Take it from me. All you need to do is be willing. We are here to help you. We are here to guide you. To the parents or guardians in the room, we're here to help. Thank you so much and have a great evening. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you to all of the panelists who spoke. Miami-Dade College has some amazing opportunities and resources, so please check it out. At this time, we would like to take questions in the Q&A section or any comments in the comment section.
And Safoni, so I did have a couple questions that have come in. I have been answering some of your questions live, just typing those answers right in. And we do have someone else that would like to share with us in just a moment. So Lou, I know you mentioned in your slides, there is a distinct difference between subsidized and unsubsidized loans. And I know you gave us a quick introduction to that. So is it fair to say that we can send some information to our audience members, giving them a little bit more information on those, the difference between those? Can we follow up with that?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to give, like, you know, the breakdown, even the slide that I have that has it there kind of explains a little bit more, but there's lots of information. And even if you all just get on and Google FSA, which is again, federal student aid, loans, it'll take you to the federal website and it'll explain the different types and things like that. But I'd be happy to provide all that I have as well. And I did want to mention, because I was trying to go so fast, I'm so sorry. Miami-Dade County Public Schools, in conjunction with Miami-Dade College, we've been doing a wonderful series of FAFSA completion events that have been phenomenal. And we've had them in English, Spanish, and Creole. There's another one tomorrow night. And there'll be another one in May and throughout the time. So if you just want to start getting a little bit more familiar with the process, you can always attend that. Or if you're a senior right now and you need some help and you're at Miami-Dade, our pre-college advisor that I have from Miami-Dade Kendall, my Maite, I love her with all my heart. They are phenomenal and they will walk you through that. Sorry.
No, that's perfect, Lou. And you bring up a great point. If you have the flyer for that, or even the date and time that you could drop in the chat, that would be great. And I will look for it in my email as well to see if I can find it to share it if it is tomorrow.
I'm
So
going to send it to you because half of my screen is dead right now. and I
Perfect.
don't know.
So perfect. Send it to me and I will send it out on our chat so everyone has it for tomorrow. So there is a distinct difference. For those of you that were asking, several wanted to know the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized. So great questions. We will follow up with you. If you registered for this event, we'll be sending you a follow-up email next week with resources, with links, and with further information for you to look at. So before we click, we did have another question. Tamara, I just several people in the chat. I hope you looked at it. They gave you kudos and thumbs up, and they're excited about,
I did.
you know, next. So thank you.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm in the car. I'm actually going to my second job because I'm assistant director at Performing Arts Academy. So I'm in the car talking to you guys. So I apologize.
No, we're glad to have you, and thank you for squeezing us in. There was a question actually around jobs in college. You know, is it possible to have jobs while you're in college? And I think that you did speak to that.
It is very possible. It really just depends if you are a person that can multitask. If you are a person that can keep up with your schedule, like they said it earlier, you have to make sure that you have time management. If your class is at 8 o'clock and you decide you're going to go into work at 9, you can't go into work at 9 because you have class from 8 to 8:50. You won't make it in time for work. So you have to really just manage your time. But I would say if you are a freshman or a sophomore, do not get a job because you cannot afford to fail a class. You cannot afford to drop a class. You have to have, well, here at my university, you have to have 12 hours to be considered a full-time student. So it is not recommended to get a job as a freshman or a sophomore because you have to really focus on your studies. If you're more of a person that needs more time in studying, please do not get a job until you feel comfortable enough that you can do class and work and social time without, failing class, without missing work, without having to deal with your parents calling, hey, I got a call from such and such, do you want in class today? My mother does that. So if you have a parent that's very supportive like that, make sure that if you want to get a job, it's cool. But like I said, make sure you have time management and that you're able to do both.
Thank you. And Jaime, I believe you wanted to share on that topic as well.
No, I mean, I can't beat what Tamara said. So I was gonna speak about that. But also, I also do want to share very quickly that Danielle, I'll go ahead and I'll send you some information because at the college for the summer, we do have a program called Fast Track Charts, where we're offering up to 6 credits free of charge for students that want to start on June 21st. And we have about 900 spots college-wide. So I'll definitely send that. It's free tuition for 6 credits, $500 book stipend as well. So I'll send you that information, but I wanted everyone to know that as well.
Great, so everyone hears that. That is going to be a great opportunity for you that are seniors, right? And that are looking to move into college now. So we'll definitely send that to you. And we do know that out of the 200 guests that we have with us tonight, some of you are maybe not even parents, but you want this information to bring to the people in your life. And some of you are maybe in 9th grade. Some of you are in 12th grade looking to 2 months from now, what's going to happen in 2 months. So we want to be able to speak to all those. So put those questions, there's more coming in, talk to us in the chat, I'll filter those and we'll definitely send you follow-up information. And there was one other question I wanted to get to before we move into one last piece and move on to our next set of speakers, which is about bright futures. So I had several questions around bright futures. If you fill out the FAFSA once, do you have to do it every year if you have bright futures? So we'll answer that piece first quickly. Anyone have an answer for that?
Yes, FAFSA is the federal application from the federal government for funds from them. The Florida financial aid application, referred to as the FFAA, is the application for Bright Futures. And it's a super easy application. Your CAP advisors have step-by-step instructions, very easy. It is submitted at the same time after October 1st of your senior year. The student will have all the way until June of their senior year to meet the qualifications. And once they are awarded a Bright Futures scholarship, they do not have to submit that application every year. They do just have to update, make sure their GPA is correct. They are in contact with their financial aid office at their college or university and maintaining the requirements for that scholarship within the financial aid office there. The financial aid office will pull it if they need to, but those kids stay on top of it. But it is a separate application from the FAFSA. FAFSA is federal. I like to refer to it. They're the big boys over here with the federal government. FFAA is the Florida financial aid.
Thank you, Lou. And one last thing, I am going to put up a poll right now for all of our audience members to complete. It's just 2 simple questions. It'll give us an idea, what other information do you want? And what can we provide to you that you want answers to? So I'm going to launch that poll. And while the poll is going, you can go ahead and click, just quick 2 answers. We had one last question that I, kept coming up over and over again around Bright Futures. If you apply for Bright Futures and you change schools in the middle of using your Bright Futures, is that possible? Can you move your Bright Futures?
Yes, absolutely. You just go right that FFAA application or account is essentially what it is. It'll be assigned to the student. You can go in and say whatever school you are currently at to have those funds sent there. It's always good to be in communication with the financial aid office of each school and, kind of stay on top of that. But as long as it's a Florida school, yes, they can be used anywhere in Florida and it can be switched over.
I do have quite a few questions around what's better, internships or a college job, when you're in school. I have more questions around loans and FAFSA and financial aid. We're not going to be able to get to all of those, but we do promise you by filling out this poll, we'll be able to get you more sessions like this to answer those questions that are very, very particular to the subject, since tonight is just about getting an overview. So we just want to say a big thank you to all of our panelists for this first session. We're going to say goodbye to our first set of panelists. Thank you all. And we're going to welcome our next set of panelists. The poll is still up. And to kick us off, do I have, I don't see, we had one other guest that I don't see. All right, Jose, kick us off.
Hi, thank you everyone that presented right now. I'm sure you got some nice information out of that. Now I will be presenting a student to tell us about their experience.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Canelo Garcia. I'm a current senior at G. Holmes Braddock Senior High School, and this upcoming fall, I'll be attending the University of Pennsylvania. So the reason I chose University of Pennsylvania is because of the amazing education it has, being an Ivy League institution, and also be attending the Wharton School of Business, which is usually regarded as the best business school in the world. I also really love the location, Philadelphia. I visited recently. I love the city, I love the people, and I love the Philly cheesesteaks, as well as the diversity within the city, meeting all types of people. And that's something I'm really excited for. So as it comes to applying to the school, I didn't apply through the traditional route. I didn't do Common App, I didn't do Coalition App. So what I did was QuestBridge. And QuestBridge is a nonprofit organization that allows low-income, high-achieving students to apply to some of the best colleges and universities in the nation and earn a full 4-year scholarship. So most of the Ivy Leagues are there. There's other schools like Stanford, Caltech, and if you're into liberal arts colleges, there are some of those schools too. So personally, navigating the college admissions process was really difficult, as there's no set criteria for any school, program, major, or so on. Some people say, what do you need to do for this school? What do you need to do for that school? It usually depends by person, but some things that you can do, or some very important factors, are having a great GPA, submitting standardized testing, having a strong curriculum, being active in extracurricular activities, your letters of recommendation, and your essays. So with respect to GPA, it's really important to have good grades from the jump. I'm not sure who was saying it earlier, but I think it was Tamara, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But as soon as you get to school, your freshman year, it's really important to have great grades and also start meeting teachers, start meeting your counselors and everyone else. Although many schools in the nation have gone test optional, I know that the majority of schools here in Florida haven't. So it's still important to study for your AP test, your Cambridge test, your IB, your SAT, ACT, all of those, because those can definitely help you get into really great schools. In terms of strength of curriculum, it's really important to see what your school offers. My suggestion is to challenge yourself to take the most challenging classes possible. Obviously, take what you can handle, because if you get too overwhelmed, there's a chance that maybe you don't do good in some class, and that gets you very overwhelmed, and then you don't do good in any class because of that stress. Personally, at Braddock, I'm part of the Cambridge program at school, I've had the opportunity to take classes from the University of Cambridge. And although the school that I'll be attending doesn't accept credit, many schools in Florida do accept ACE. As a matter of fact, if you go through that Cambridge process, you're able to bypass the SAT requirement for Bright Futures, although there are other requirements that you need. With respect to extracurricular activities, it's really important to get involved at your school. Don't join clubs because some people say, oh, it's a good club to join and it'll look good on your colleges. My suggestion is to join clubs that you're passionate about. Be active in those clubs, be a leader, join leadership positions. Personally, I'm president in 2 clubs in my school and I'm an officer in some other clubs. But regardless of those that I'm not an officer in, I'm really active because that's important. The title doesn't matter to me. It's just being active, helping people, and achieving our goal. As it comes to recommendations, get close to the teachers you have, especially those that teachers that you that I'm sorry that align with the career that you'd like, or maybe some certain class. For example, when I applied to my respective schools, I'd like to pursue a degree in accounting, and I'm really into math. So those are the 2 teachers I asked for in my school. And always work hard because your teachers will notice and they will write you great recommendations if you work hard. Finally, with essays, in my opinion, it's the most important part as it comes to selective college admissions, because this really gives you the opportunity to express who you are and show who you are. Because with respect to what I was mentioning, your GPA, your testing, those are just numbers and letters. That means nothing. I mean, it doesn't mean everything. I'm sorry. With respect to essays, that's what's really important. At school, the process was made a lot easier through the help I've had of great teachers, my counselor, my CAP advisor. I know these resources have been mentioned. Don't be afraid to consult your teachers for anything, especially recommendations, as I mentioned. Friends are a great resource too, as it comes to editing essays or help. And it's good not to be competitive either. Help each other. That's really important. Don't be envious of other successes, but always help each other regardless. Because each of my friends, they push me to challenge myself academically, and I push others to challenge themselves, and not just academically, but outside of the classroom, whether in clubs or community service. Like I said, pursue your passions. It could be in school, outside of school. I give an example. I mentioned accounting. I did taxes junior year. Unfortunately, that wasn't for long because of COVID. I did some summer programs with some great universities that some of them dealt with accounting. I've taken accounting 3 years now, and I assume you're starting to see the trend that I'm really into accounting. I'm really into business, so that's really important to make sure to let colleges know what you want to do. Don't just write about it in your essays, but tell them what you want to do. And finally, I know some of you guys may be stressed about, oh, I have to do tests, I have to do grades, clubs. Enjoy yourself in high school. You know, you're still a teenager. Find ways to unwind with your friends, whether it's going out, volunteering with friends, or find the hobby. Sometimes, well, not often, but when I get really stressed out, I take my basketball and I go to the park and I just start playing basketball. You know, that's a way I like to unwind. Others like doing anything else, but just find the way, something that helps you relax. Another thing, don't be afraid of the cost of really big universities, because a lot of big universities, whether you're thinking about Ivy League universities like the University of Pennsylvania, for example, a lot of those schools have a ton of money to help others, especially low income individuals. So maybe you don't have all the money in the world. Schools will definitely help you out. And QuestBridge is another great resource, like I mentioned. They give full 4-year scholarships to, like I said, some of the best schools in the nation. Also, get your parents involved. They're a really important uh, resource. Not just resource, I would say, but great motivator. They could help keep you in check, and let them know everything, because they're going to be there for you every step of the way. So this brings me to the end of my presentation. If there's one thing I would like for each of you, whether parent, student, or whoever else, to take away from these few minutes that I've spoken, is that crazy dreams like the ones that I had are possible. Many years ago, if you tell me I'd be going to the best business school in the world for free, I would laugh at you. I wouldn't think that's possible. But I worked really hard. I just never stopped, and I'm here now. So instead of being envious of others because of the great things that they do, always have the right mentality. Be supportive, take motivations from other successes. And to finish off, I'd like to thank everyone here speaking. And I really appreciate everyone taking their time out and presenting great information. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob, for sharing your experience, and congratulations on getting in. Next, we'll be having Tammy Dean.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Tammy Dean. I attend South Dade Technical College. I am actually a graduate of South Dade. I graduated last year as a nail specialty. So I do nails. And what I like to say about South Dade, because I actually started back going to school in January to finish up cosmetology that I actually started at Robert Morgan. I got discouraged at Robert Morgan because I had really, really bad carpal tunnel and I couldn't finish. And it just like discouraged me for not going back to school. So y'all, if I get a little emotional, it's okay. But it's the drive. It's like something that you like to do. I was listening to all the panelists and like Mr. Mantilla said, you have a lot of programs that will help you because a lot of times you may not have the monies to go to school, and they have programs that can help you and to, you know, push your dreams. And like Tamara was saying as well, you know, you can't work because I actually work at Amazon and I work overnight. So it was like, Tammy, how are you going to do both work and go to school? Because I worked overnight. I get off at 7 in the morning. If I have to, and I worked, I live in Homestead, and I worked all the way in Opelika to the main building, you know, main site. So it's like, how are you going to do both? And I chose my education because my education, I can do more with my education. I can get my own business. I don't have to work for other people. So my goal is to have a nail shop as along with cosmetology, because that's what I love to do, which I do hair now, but I just don't have the license. So I'm actually going to school right now. And I have a wonderful teacher, Miss Torres. The lady is amazing. If anyone is there that loves to do hair, do nails, facial, go to South Dade. I can say go to South Dade Technical College because that lady, that teacher is amazing. She's amazing. And she takes the time with you. The office staff is amazing as well. Miss Montenegro, Dr. Mowry, amazing. And when I tell you, they help you as much as they can to help you succeed. Believe me, I'm telling you, I wouldn't change anything because I was actually going to go back to Robert Morgan. And I met someone in the shop shopping for things. And she was like, I'm going to South Dade. And I live literally 2 minutes from South Dade. And I was going to go to Robert Morgan. And she was like, well, I only paid so and so amount because I got into a program. I literally left the nail shop place and I went to South Dade and I actually signed up for the class. Jackie could tell you I aggravated them so much till they knew when I called them. They literally knew me when I called. Hi Tammy, everything is going, everything is going.
So good,
Yes, and
okay.
We actually started on Zoom.
Yeah, I think a lot of the schools are doing that. So we thank you so much, Tammy, for sharing with us your experience. And it really shows our audience members that there's so many pathways, right? When we're figuring out what it is that we're doing in our life. So we thank you so much for your time. And I think
you for having me.
Thank you. And I think Tiffany, we'd love to hear from you.
So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn about all these great opportunities all throughout our beautiful city of Miami. I'm just going to talk to you very briefly about FIU and the opportunities that we present. So when you're looking at the application and the admissions and everything, we're one of the more simpler applications, I would say, compared to some of like the Common App and whatnot. So what we want is for you to fill out the application. There's a $30 application fee. If you're working with your CAP advisor and you're using an SAT or ACT test waiver, you're eligible for an application fee waiver. Go ahead and reach out with your CAP advisor about that application fee waiver. And then you'll send FIU your high school transcripts and your test scores. We do what's called super scoring. So whatever the highest scores you have between your SATs and ACTs, we'll go ahead and take whatever the highest combination is. So that way, if you took the test twice, 3 times, 4 times, maybe you scored higher on the ACT English than you did on the math, we'll go ahead and pull whatever's your highest scores. And then once we have your high school transcripts and your test scores, everything will be sent to our admissions for them to make a decision. Within our Office of Student Access and Success, where I work, we work with a variety of access programs where we know sometimes students may not be the highest test scores or test takers, myself included. I took the SAT 5 times and I just couldn't score that high. So with our program that's called Golden Scholars, and I had a slide that just shares very briefly about my contact information and our Golden Scholars Instagram. With our Golden Scholars, we take students in that maybe have slightly lower test scores than our general admissions profile. And what we do is we have them start with us in the summer. It's a bridge program where they live on campus. And then what they'll do is they will take a few classes with us. We have upper class students that'll live with them and just serve as their mentors. Because FIU is an institution of about 55,000 students, that's a very large school. So we take in 75 to 100 Golden Scholars each year to just get them acclimated to the university in kind of a smaller setting. So that way they can get familiar with FIU. And when the students have what's called a 0 EFC, that expected family contribution that Ms. Gilman spoke about earlier, we as a program will help cover the cost of your dorm, your meal plan, and your books, and then your grants will go ahead and cover the cost of your tuition for that summer. So it's really a great way to kind of get acclimated to the university as kind of a smaller group, a smaller family atmosphere. And I think sometimes students, especially those that started with us last summer, they were like, what's the point if being a part of this program is? We bring all of the resources to you. We're kind of your liaison across campus. If you're having any stress with financial aid, housing, professors, academic advising, tutoring, we have all the resources here for you to say, okay, have you spoken to this person in this office? Just because sometimes we understand that you can get kind of like lost in the sauce with such a huge institution. We do partner with a number of outside organizations as well. So we have students that maybe were formerly in foster care or found themselves in a homeless situation. We work with them closely within our office. So just making sure that a student has kind of like that holistic support at the university. I think oftentimes students will say, I'm not going to apply to FIU because I can't afford it. And I say, oh, really? You've already gotten your financial aid package and you know exactly how much money we're going to be giving you? And they're like, no, not exactly. And I said, well, at least give us a chance. Never say no to yourself. Like, let somebody else do it. If FIU is somewhere that you want to attend, reach out and see what are the options and the opportunities. If a student has a 0 EFC, that expected family contribution is 0, FIU has what's called the Golden Promise, where all of your tuition and fees is guaranteed to be covered by the university, and like a combination of a variety of different grants. And I know somebody asked earlier about the FAFSA and whether or not you should fill it out every year. So like Ms. Gilman said, federal is one thing, state is another, but we have institutional money, like we have money within FIU where we give out a variety of scholarships. And if you're going to be eligible for any of our scholarships, we need to see that you filled out a FAFSA. So it would benefit you, I think, at the end of the day, every year to go ahead and fill out that FAFSA and not leave any money on the table. And I know some people were asking about dual enrollment. FIU does offer dual enrollment. Speak with your CAP advisors about that. It is, like they said, free college education. You can take as many classes as you can prior to even starting your college career. But please keep in mind that your college GPA will go with you anywhere you go. So you must take dual enrollment serious. And then also, if you're going to be applying to FIU, and maybe you took dual enrollment at Miami-Dade College, which is a phenomenal institution, or Barry, which is another great university, or Broward College, for some reason, maybe you took dual enrollment somewhere besides FIU, you need to send those college transcripts to FIU as well. Unfortunately, we can't pull that information from your high school transcript, but I don't want you repeating a course that you already have credit for. And then making sure that you're sending whatever tests you may have taken, whether they're AP, IB, Cambridge, so that way FIU has those test scores coming in. And then I will stick around at the end if anyone has any questions, concerns. I will put into the chat my contact information. If you have any questions about FIU in general or Golden Scholars, you want to learn more, I do kind of like a college budget 101 with my students, because oftentimes they want to come live on campus, which is great. It's a great opportunity, but I want to make sure that you can afford it before you go to sign that dorm, because living on campus is not cheap. And I don't want you to be illusioned that you're going to come here and then just run into the issues of how are you going to pay for your dorm on campus. So, and then Ms. Danielle does have my contact information that she will be sharing with everybody once we wrap up with all the different presentations. But again, I'll go ahead and I'll drop my, there's my email, my phone number. If you email me directly, I usually respond within 24 to 48 hours. And then the FIU Golden Scholars Instagram, I oversee as well. So I know some of the younger folks on this chat today, you all love Instagram. So feel free to link up with me on there. And then feel free to give me a call. If you call and I don't answer, leave a voicemail, because I don't tend to miss calls back, because I've called back and it's been Planet Fitness or Burger King or wherever you happen to call from. So if you leave me a voicemail, I will call back. Thank you, Manuel, for following. I appreciate that. I just saw one follow come in. But again, if you have any questions or concerns about FIU, I've been here for 15 years now. I know a variety of people across campus, and I'd be glad to connect you with anybody that you're interested in. Last thing to say, raise.me. All my 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, well, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, Raise.me is that micro scholarship where if you're going on a college tour, you're taking an AP exam, or you're involved in a sport or student club, you put in all of your information and you automatically can get scholarships, and FIU is a Raise.me institution. So thank you all for your time, and I'll go ahead and make sure I drop my contact information in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you to Florida International University for that presentation. Up next, we have the Youth Empowerment League.
Hello. Well, thank you so much for having me today. My name is Lisette Treves with the Youth Empowerment League. Throughout the presentation, you will notice that there are QR codes. This one is mainly just to lead to our website to learn more about the Youth Empowerment League. So a little bit about me. This is just so that we could learn, since it's a college access panel, I thought I'd let you know a little bit about me through my studies. And so I actually went to Braddock Senior High School and also School for Advanced Studies. And then I studied hospitality management at FIU, and then educational leadership at Barry University. I've also studied abroad via a program called Semester at Sea. You live on a ship and travel around the world, so it was pretty exciting. And also to China and Hong Kong with Florida International University. And I have different education certifications, so you have an idea, but I thought it'd be fun since it's a college access panel, so you get a little glimpse of my background. And so today I will be talking a little bit about scholarships, right? We have so many opportunities out there when it comes to scholarships, but I did want to mention the different types of financial aid available. When we break it down, it looks, I mean, you really could look at it like grants, scholarships, loans, federal work study. This is federal aid, right? Internships, fellowships, tuition waivers, there's employee benefits, veteran benefits. So that kind of, that's all financial aid, but we're going to be focused in on scholarships. Now, when you look here, this is a share of college costs paid from each funding source. If you notice, there's a large percentage that shows up for parent. But what I wanted to say is that think of it almost like a pie. You decide at the end of the day, if this pie, you cut these parts out, and hopefully you don't have any parents that are having to pay any fees or borrowing or relatives. Hopefully it's a majority coming from scholarships and grants. So I felt pretty lucky when I was at School for Advanced Studies. I did apply to scholarships, but I will tell you that I did not apply to nearly as many as I should have. So I actually did, with the scholarships I did earn, actually was getting paid to go to school, but I still feel I could have gotten paid even more to go to school. When I say I got paid to go to school, I had zero parent income and savings. My parents did not have to help me with school because of the scholarships and grants. So do take advantage. Actually, towards the bottom, you don't have to scan this every time. It will just come up once. If you're interested in joining as an ambassador, you're a student interested in becoming an ambassador for the Youth Empowerment League, you're going to see this throughout the slides. You could scan it and let us know, basically, so that we go over all sorts of things like scholarships, and we have workshops, and basically to help you out throughout the year, community service projects. So definitely, if you are a student and you're interested in being an ambassador, you could scan and fill this out so that we would know. Our next meeting happens to come up April 21st, so you have an idea. But since today it's all about scholarships, we want to think about scholarships as a gift. Really, they're not to be repaid. So that's what makes it so nice. And there are thousands of scholarships offered. I mean, they could be offered by schools, employers, individuals, private companies, nonprofit organizations, communities, religious groups, professional and social organizations. Because there are so many scholarships, you might be wondering, well, is it for like a particular grade level, or when do I start? Well, start as early as you can. I mean, there are scholarships out there as early as freshman year. You could already start creating profiles to gain money, like with micro scholarships. But the reality is that there are scholarships for all grade levels. Yes, there are a heavy amount for like your junior, senior year, but don't, there are tons of them even beforehand. So just make sure that you are aware and like you are in contact with the people that could help you out. And so that's why I like to lead into, a great place to start is your high school college counselor. Your high school college counselor may be sending you, for example, a bulletin that lets you know about the scholarships that are coming up. Also, there are many scholarship search websites. I mean, the list is pretty extensive. So I put a few out here so that you have an idea, but really be in the know of like create your own schedule to apply for scholarships. That's going to be a big deal for you to create a schedule and to make it work for you. As far as scholarships go, I've heard one of the biggest things I always hear with our ambassadors is some of them say, I'm worried about applying for scholarships because I feel like it's going to take so much time. And I said, well, start putting things in perspective here. If you invest, let's just say this is to put it all in perspective, invest 10 hours to apply to 10 scholarships and are awarded one for $2,000, you just earned $200 an hour. And so if you think about this, at $9.25 an hour, you would have to work 216 hours to earn $2,000. So when you put this in perspective, realize how you reap the benefits from scholarships. And I noticed it myself as a student at starting off at FIU, realizing, oh, I'm getting paid. I'm getting checks by mail because I have an excessive amount of scholarship money. So this does happen sometimes. It's unique. It happens. And even like as it happened to me, it could have happened even more. And I could have had a larger check because I still feel as though I could have applied to many more scholarships. So I highly encourage you to make it your job to apply for scholarships. If you currently have a job, make it your second job. So what kind of scholarships are available? So we want to think about the types of scholarships. There are really scholarships for everyone. My goodness, there are scholarships for your height. It could be for your eye color. It could literally be for what you're planning to study, your major or program of study, academic merit. There's extracurricular activities, athletic, financial need, personal barriers. The list goes on and on. So the reality is there is a scholarship for everyone. So no matter if you're sitting here and you're like, oh, but my GPA, well, guess what? There's a scholarship for you. There's a scholarship for a C average student. My goodness, the list goes on and on for the amount of scholarships out there. So what we mentioned earlier is when to apply. Really, you need to apply as soon as you see that scholarship becomes available, become organized with the deadlines and knowing when it is due. So apply to scholarships early and often because there are so many scholarships out there that you really want to just prioritize with you have to create a schedule. That's what I like to say. Create yourself a little schedule to help yourself out because at the end of the day, you're going to make it like your job, right? So do that and you will find that it becomes easier because since you're going to tackle many, make it easier for yourself. But of course, one of the things I always mention is to be aware of any scams. Sometimes you have to watch out if there's like a fee or a guarantee that's out there, just like for anything. So just, watch out for that. You're never going to pay for a scholarship, not even an application fee. If it's a legitimate donor, they're not going to ask for an application fee. So you have an idea. As far as application tips, we mentioned earlier, making sure to set a schedule for yourself. So meet all deadlines, follow the instructions. It's so, one of the simple things is literally make sure if it says you need this, you have that, that particular item. Make a copy of the scholarship application. Type the application, essay, and any additional information and fill in all the blanks. Make sure that you're putting in your best foot forward for your applications. And then I like to mention the diversity fly-in programs. Now with COVID, some universities have changed their method of the fly-in program, but I'm going to explain what it is because it seems like airlines and everything is kind of changing again. So I'm going to mention it. The college diversity fly-in programs are an excellent way to get a chance to see a university. This is usually for low-income students that are first generation, but the university a lot of times, depends on, there's a few universities out there that do this, many of them. They will pay for your travel, a chance to basically visit the campus, see it, tour it, and see if it's for you. So what's so nice about this program, we had an ambassador that actually really wanted to go check out the Culinary Institute of America in New York. Turns out that she ended up getting accepted into the program. And it was really cool because she had a chance to visit the campus. But what happens, when she gets back, I say, how did it go? She ends up telling me, I realized it's not for me. And I actually was like, okay, perfect. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're going to an institution that matches your wants and needs. So this, I see it almost like a little scholarship free flight. You get to check out the university and it's all paid for. So take advantage. We mentioned Bright Future Scholarship before. So make sure to realize, what do you need to hit your 100% tuition scholarship or your 75% tuition scholarship? What's the GPA? What is your SAT, ACT score? Even if you're a freshman, you already want to know, does the score change sometimes? Yes. Does the GPA maybe change? It might. But the reality is, if you already know what you're gauging, you have a gauge, you know what you're working towards. So please, at whatever grade you're in, it doesn't matter if you are, again, if you're a freshman, you're working towards, you have a goal of what you want to accomplish, okay? And remember that the Florida Bright Future Scholarship, it's a Florida program that it's really been established by the lottery. So it's lottery funded, which is nice. And I was lucky actually to receive the Florida Bright Futures. So I am a very much like a, make sure to apply and don't miss it, because if you hit all the targets, you get the scholarship, especially, well, if you're going to a Florida school. So also raise.me, which has been mentioned as well. This is for 9th grade to 12th grade. This one is a micro scholarship, small grant you can earn basically during high school. Do not miss it. And it's literally, you're creating a profile, and the universities, many universities are on there, so take advantage. Bigfuture.org, these are some resources here that I have for you guys to take advantage and take a look at, helping guide you to figure out maybe which university is for you. Also, some people might ask about the scholarship money, like, hey, how am I going to receive it? Well, sometimes it goes directly to your college. It could actually even go to you directly in the form of a check. It all varies. You need to check on that scholarship that you're applying for. And just to give you guys a big tip, there's so much information, there's so many scholarships out there. One of the biggest things to do is delve into you, know about yourself, what is your personality like? What is it that you want to study? If you don't know, check out 16personalities.com, learn a little bit about yourself, and learn about careers that match your personality. And there's also floridashines.org that can help you as well to delve into you. But I really want to say thank you, and do something today that your future self will thank you for. And this is an example of something that your future self will thank you for being here today, because you all have put up the effort in to be here and to take note of all these great opportunities. So thank you all, and it's nice to meet you all. Have a good one.
Thank you to the Youth Empowerment League for that presentation. Up next, we have Educate Tomorrow.
Thank you, Jose. Hi, everyone. I'm Brett McNaught with Educate Tomorrow. I'm here to talk about youth who have been involved in the foster care system and the post-secondary educational opportunities that they qualify for or may qualify for. So I would say anyone in the audience who may be connected to a youth in foster care, or if you are or have been in foster care, if you're a foster parent, or even a relative, caregiver, or adoptive parent from the foster care system, this is for you. I will be brief, but I'll leave my information. So if you think you might qualify for something, you can reach out to me directly. Florida has a statute that's been around for 20 years that allows for youth who aged out of the foster care system or were adopted out of the foster care system to be able to access a tuition waiver to any public college or university or technical college in the state of Florida. That tuition waiver extends to relative care, even non-relative care status in certain circumstances. So it's really good to check on that if you think you may qualify for something. Florida actually leads the country in tuition waivers with over almost 7,000 students utilizing tuition waivers across the state this semester. That number has dramatically risen over the last several years. Just even less than 10 years ago, it was like 2,000 students. Now it's 7,000. And Miami-Dade College is, I believe, the national leader in the number of tuition waivers that are utilized from youth who had spent time in foster care. FIU has a program called Fostering Panther Pride that has served hundreds of students over the last, since 2014. So please do, look into whether or not you qualify for this opportunity if you've spent any time in foster care or if you've ever fostered a child. or adopted a child out of the foster care system. I will leave it at that because I know we're short in time, but I'll put my information into the chat box.
Thank you, Brett and Educate Tomorrow, so much for that information. I know that we have a lot of foster care children out there. Up next, I would like to present Americans for Immigrant Justice.
Hi, everyone. I don't have the permission to share the screen anymore. If you can give it to me really quick. And I'll just start talking because I know we're running late. My name is Jennifer Anzardo Valdez, and I'm the director of the Children's Legal Program at Americans for Immigrant Justice. We are a nonprofit law firm, immigration law firm that provides free services to non-citizens in 7 different counties here in South Florida. Give me 1 second.
Go ahead and share now. Thank you, Jennifer. Perfect.
Great. So we provide services here in South Florida. We do have a large children's program in which I am the director for, and you are eligible for services if you are an unaccompanied minor, or if you are under 18 and living in Miami-Dade County, or currently 18 and currently in school. We also do have various other programs that serve adults and families. And in the end of the presentation, I'll be giving out some phone numbers that you can reach out. One of the things that I just wanted to mention is DACA. This is a very popular option for many of the students who are non-citizens in high school. And this is the eligibility requirement for DACA. There has been a lot of back and forth on who can apply for DACA and whether the DACA program exists. So I thought it would be important to mention the DACA program was reinstated, and you can apply for initial DACA. So if you've never applied for DACA before, you could apply now for DACA if you're eligible. And you can also renew your DACA application. The DACA application gives you the ability to work and gives you permission to be in the United States for a 2-year period. And then you can always renew it afterwards. It does have a lot of different dates, so it is important to note that you have to have been in the United States prior to June 15, 2007 in order to qualify, and that you had to have been continuously present in the United States since that time. If you're looking at this and you are a non-citizen and you say, well, I'm not eligible for this, it doesn't mean that you're not eligible for something. I do encourage you that if you are a non-citizen or not yet a citizen of the US, that you reach out to our offices. The earlier you do it, the better. There are some applications that you will not be eligible for once you turn 18 years old. So the younger that you come into the office, the easier for us it is to help to be able to assist you if you're eligible for some form of immigration relief. So then I just wanted to flag a couple of things about in-state tuition and FAFSA as it pertains to non-citizens. So if you are an undocumented student, you are eligible for in-state tuition in the state of Florida if you have attended a secondary school for 3 consecutive years. Immediately before graduating high school in the state of Florida, and if you apply for enrollment into a higher education within 2 years of graduating high school. And you also need to submit your Florida high school transcript as proof that you meet these requirements. So then this will allow you to get in-state tuition here in Florida. As far as FAFSA goes, this is really, really important. If you are not a citizen or what they consider an eligible resident, you cannot fill out the FAFSA application. You are not eligible for federal financial aid. Filling out the FAFSA application requires you to use a social security number. If you do not have a social security number, you are unable to do it. It is really important that if you are undocumented or have some sort of immigration status that is not citizenship, that you do not use a fake social security number just so that you can fill out FAFSA application. And it's also very important that you do not lie and say that you are a citizen, because that could have a lot of consequences in the future, not only possible criminal consequences, but could also have consequences in you able to obtain immigration status in the future. If your parents are undocumented, it doesn't prevent a US citizen child from being able to apply for FAFSA. And I did put a website there, and I'll make sure to give that flyer to Danielle to give out to everyone. It talks about how you can put your parents' lack of social security number on the application, so the FAFSA application would actually go through. If you are an eligible non-citizen, then you could apply. You could use the FAFSA application as well. And these are the categories of eligible non-citizens. So if you have a green card, if you are an asylee or parolee, a T visa holder, or a Cuban Haitian entrant, and all of those forms of immigration status will also, you will also have a social security number. So you would be eligible to apply for the FAFSA using that. I do know that sometimes when you're applying for scholarships or state in-state tuition scholarships, that they require you, they ask you to fill out a FAFSA in order to qualify for those. If you are a DACA student, you could, and you have your social security number, you could use the FAFSA form for that purpose. But again, if you're undocumented, you cannot use the FAFSA form for that purpose. So please keep that in mind. I do recommend that if you are a college advisor or a parent assisting a child with the FAFSA application, and you realize that they're not a citizen, that you have that child talk to an immigration attorney to ensure that they're filling it out correctly so that they don't have any consequences in the future. And then this is our contact information. The first number is the number for our children's hotline. The second number is the number for our adult detention. So unfortunately, we have seen a lot of kids whose parents may get picked up while they are at school and are looking to locate their parents, so that they can call that number for help. And then if you're not sure which number to call, you could always call our general number, and our website also has a web form that you can fill out to get a consultation with our office. So I'll make sure that all this information gets out there. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to assist you in any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Up next, we have Project Upstart.
Thank you so much. And I know I'm last, so I will speak quickly, but it's important information. And while we are listed as the homeless education program of the Miami-Dade County Public Schools, we actually serve a very large population here in Miami-Dade County, over almost 10,000 students last school year. Thank you, Danielle, for bringing up our little flyer. So what I wanted to make sure everyone understood, even if this doesn't sound like it might be you, it could be a really good friend of yours or somebody that you know, a family member. We serve any student in Miami-Dade County Public Schools that lacks basically stable housing. They could be doubled up, sleeping on a couch, going from house to house, living in a motel. We do have families, some in shelter. And right now with COVID, we have a lot of families who are in what we call substandard housing. So landlords have been turning off lights, have been not repairing holes in the roof, and don't even help when there's rat infestation. So if you know someone living in this situation, they qualify for a lot of support, not just in high school from K through 11, but also especially during their senior year. So please keep in mind that Project Upstart, we help quite a bit of families throughout the school year. And when it comes to high school seniors, we help with their cap and gown payment. In a typical school year, we'll help with your prom, your grad bash, your senior breakfast. So we help with a lot of activities, but in a normal year. This year, what I really want to emphasize is what Brett just spoke about a couple minutes ago. There is a tuition waiver. We are the only state in the country that has a homeless state tuition waiver. And remember what I just said, students who are in Project Upstart have a very big definition of what qualifies. So if you're living in doubled up situation, or you living from couch to couch or in a motel right now, or you have somebody that you know and you care about, please make sure they reach out to us, projectupstart@dadeschools.net, because we can verify their status. And when they go to Miami-Dade College, FIU, UF, FSU, Lindsay Hopkins, Robert Morgan, their tuition can be waived using our letter. Even after high school, we work closely with Educate Tomorrow, and they can continue to verify that student's status. Let's say they're at FSU and they really have no place to go except that dorm. They can actually verify even after they leave Miami-Dade County Public Schools. So if this sounds familiar to you, or you think you might know someone in this situation, please talk to them about us. In addition to that, there's a very select population, a little bit different than what Jennifer was talking about, that we call unaccompanied homeless youth. Those are youth who are living on their own and they meet that unstable housing definition. Unfortunately, this year with COVID, we've had a lot of students who've become unstably housed because their parent has passed away and they've lost their housing and their parent on the same day. And they qualify for our program and they qualify for services. That FAFSA we keep talking about, very difficult to prove yourself as independent on FAFSA. And I thought it was an interesting point earlier, when a parent is often asked to give their financial aid information, they don't want to do that. And we have families who the kids aren't living at home anymore. Maybe they're sleeping at a friend's house all the time. Our program can help make that student independent. So when they apply to FAFSA, they don't need to worry about their parents' information. That is a huge deal. So if you or someone you know is living in that situation, contact us. We also help 16 and 17-year-olds who are unaccompanied youth if they need to get their state ID. It's very hard to do that if you don't have a parent or guardian, but you need that state ID to prove in-state residence when you apply to UF, FSU, MDC, FIU, or else you're going to be an out-of-state person and spend a lot more money. So make 100% sure that you're reaching out to us if you need help with that state ID and you're not living with your parent and you're unstably housed, or if you need medical assistance, we can provide verification to get that too. I'm saying a lot in a very short period of time, but you're going to get this flyer. I ask you, you can follow us at Project Upstart on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Like Tiffany said, a lot of times social media is the best way to get in touch with us. That's totally cool. I'm going to send our information right now in the chat so you have it. Our website is there, our phone number, and our email address. But please make sure that you understand it's so important for everyone, I know I'm the last speaker, that if you want to go to college, or if you want to go to the military, or if you want to go to technical college, there are people in the community that can help you do that. I am a product of Miami-Dade County Public Schools myself. We have counselors, we have CAP advisors, you have Project Upstart. There's so many people who are willing to help and want to help. You just need to ask for it. And I know it can be overwhelming, but just reach out and talk to us. One last thing I want to say to anyone who in the room who is a non-citizen, just remember what Jennifer just said. First generation, Jacob spoke before about different scholarships. There are a lot of first gen scholarships, and I'll end with a fantastic note about an unaccompanied youth that graduated ATM senior high a few years ago. She was undocumented. She was an excellent student. She had a GPA that was over a 5.5. She went to Tufts University on a first gen scholarship and graduated this past May. She invited me to Boston to go. Obviously, we couldn't go, but she graduated full ride for 4 years as an undocumented student. So I tell that story to each and every one of you because when she was a senior, she did not know what was going to happen. She didn't know where she was going to go. And now she's working. She is documented now. She has her paperwork. She's a citizen. And it's a phenomenal story. So I thank you all for letting me be here. Danielle, I know you have, if there's other questions, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Jose, did you want to wrap anything up before I give my last goodbyes?
Yeah, I want to thank all the panelists who came here today for giving out their information. We've learned a lot today from what you were saying, Deborah, the whole situation with the kids and also foster care. We will now have a brief Q&A section, so please feel free to leave all your concerns.
Thank you. Okay, so the great news is that as the speakers went on, we were able to answer so many of those questions live. And then I was able to write in responses based on information you gave. So I think we wrapped up every single question that came in our Q&A, which is fantastic. We had 130 people fill out our polls. So we're really excited about getting those responses and figuring out what we can do more for the community. Thank you to all of our panelists. And just a quick reminder to, those that there's so many of you still on this call, and I'm so impressed by you sharing your time tonight with us. We will follow up in about a week with a recording of this that you can share. We will follow up with future seminars and webinars and opportunities for you to get more answers on these various topics that you've shared with us in the chat. Thank you for spending this time. Thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you to the Children's Trust for hosting this. Thank you to our students. We had so many students on today sharing their pathways, and we couldn't have done it without all of you. So we wish you a wonderful evening, and we look forward to communicating with you via email in about a week or so. So thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Night.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.